Well, welcome back everybody. Jet Scott here as always with Scott's Beach Up, and today we're gonna do a little bit of fun experimentation. And by that I mean with this 64 here. So if you have a dirty old Mopar like this, you've probably got some trim that is either unobtainable or is just flat out just any piece you find is complete trash. This 64 Polara 500 is no exception. The front hood trim is always destroyed. In fact, between all the different pieces that we had to pick from, this is the best one we had. You know, I could probably work with that. I could probably work with, that's not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Then we get to this problem right here, where it's like someone decided, you know what, this would make a better shoe spoon than hood trim. I could probably actually fix that. I might even try it. But anyways, the point of this video is, say you don't even have this piece and you can't pay the eBay scalper price of like $300 for it. So that doesn't exist. Introduce hardware store ultra long piece of, I think this is 1/4 inch stock or something like that. Don't quote me. Hang on. This is 3/8 aluminum. C channel, U channel, whatever you want to call it. And this was $16. And you know what we're going to do with that? We're going to take these little 1/4 bolts and we're going to shave the heads down just enough so they fit nice and snug inside of here. And they're going to protrude out the back side of this. And then we're going to clamp these two ends down until we create almost this shape. And then we're going to, again, a lot of work to recreate a piece. If we need to, we'll TIG weld the whole top down, we'll smooth it, and we'll shape it, and we'll try and recreate a shape similar enough to this that you won't completely notice it. And being aluminum, we can polish it. So that's what we're doing. So let's make that fit that. So the first thing is going to be measuring, and our distance here I've already measured is 50 inches, with 25 inches being the dead center. And this hood does have a slight peak to it. Very, very minimum, which I think we can actually just not have to worry about bending the aluminum too much. I think once we get this shape kind of formed, we get it cut to our 50 inches, we get our studs or our bolts in here, we'll actually be able to suck this piece in to the right shape, and then we'll be able to start to hand form it. This flange here, I did guess, and I got lucky, is the right height for this flange that we got to deal with here, and that would be a main thing. If you're going to make trim, make sure it fits on there good. So it does fit pretty good. So let's get that piece cut and start forming it. Alrighty, so our piece is all cut up here. We took some 1/4 fine threaded bolts. Why fine thread? It's because of what I had the most of. So ground all the heads down. Now they fit in these little tracks, just like I was envisioning. Except this will be the opposite direction because we're going to be folding these lips in to mimic that trapezoidal shape or whatever the heck that is. So now you just got to go do some measuring, figure out where these need to be in, and then I can make slots in here so this can be adjustable left and right if I'm a little bit off of my holes. I'm going to go do that, and I'll show you in a second. Alright, well there's my proof of concept right there, proving that something is better than nothing. Please forgive the lack of bezel here. We trim ring broke and a couple screws stripped out, so we did get all the stuff to finish that one, but now we're waiting on more parts to show up so we can put it together and not have issues. But I just got the 2 outside holes in, and I mean, really on camera and in person from this distance, it doesn't look that bad. It's only when you get up close to it do you realize, oh, it's just from the hardware store. So I think our job is actually going to be pretty freaking easy. Even if this thing is taller than the rest of the trim, I think we can shape it and make it work. So now I'm just going to go mark all the rest of the holes, and that'll help conform it the rest of the way to the very slight bow it has, and get to work shaping it. Oh, and if you're curious what kind of magical, mythical means in which I found out where to put the holes, I took a Sharpie, marked it on the back side from the hood. That's my super secret trick if you were curious. Sharpie, back side of the hole of the hood. There you go. So that's what we got so far. And now that it's on the car, we can kind of figure out that, well, this lip on the bottom needs to come up more than the one on the top. So we'll start hammering this bottom lip up, and then we'll slowly close it with the top one. And then we'll figure something out to fill that, and then we'll weld it up solid, and then we have a piece of hood trim. Very little money in it. All right, so we got ourselves a piece of 3/8 aluminum round stock here, and what you'll see is I got stripes and clamps, because we have our piece of aluminum C channel, U channel, whatever heck you want to call it. We got her set in there, and you'll see that it's sitting so far off. That's because the head of the bolts. So what I did was I marked where the bolt heads were right in here, and then I marked that, and then we're going to grind that piece down so it sits in there flush, so it'll sit down deeper, and we'll be able to trim that and make it fit more like that. All right, so now what we're doing is I marked all these with the Sharpie. Don't know if I showed it, but I told you guys I was going to do it. I started to grind them and hogged them out with the carbide, and now I'm sitting here with a hand file, filing each of these grooves down to about the same level and making them perfectly flat as best I can, so that way they will lock into those bolts. So a lot of test fitting, a lot of trial and error, so if I can do it, you can do it. There's no excuse. All right, don't mind the background noise. We're filming a couple videos all at once, so right now we got everything file fitted and cleaned on this, so these are all hand filed, and don't mind the imperfections, because that was all done with the hog just to get it started. And the whole purpose of this is so our bolt here, the head, will fit in there and be fully recessed. Thank God for files. It's the only way to get it kind of correct. So let's go put this on and see how it looks. All right, so here's the whole deal with those slots. So now I can fit much more flush. There we go. And as you see now, it used to sit up like that. Focus. All right, now it'll sit in there all the way, which means we can grind off those edges we don't need anymore and make that fit a lot better. So if we move our rag and this bolt, we don't want to shut those in. We'll bring this down. Oh yeah, with that round edge sitting flush, it's actually gonna be, and the hood's a little far forward, so I think we're gonna be pretty good. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it tacked on each end where I need this rod to be, and then grind off that excess on that ledge, or maybe beat it around. Well, nope, it's gotta come off because it protrudes too far. Maybe we'll try and beat it around, see what it looks like. Regardless, if it needs ground off, we'll grind it off. We'll have our piece of hood trim. Alrighty, so we got our piece of trim off the car. I gotta clean this, but I have it actually bent the exact same arc of the hood. So I'm gonna get this rod in here. I'm gonna get my bolts in there, get everything. Well, first, we're gonna clean everything, and then we're gonna put our bolts in there, and then we're gonna lay our rod in there, and we're gonna get it all clamped down, and then we're gonna tack the ends, and then we'll probably tack the middle, make sure nothing's moved, test fit it. If everything's good, we'll start to slowly weld them inside out, and just slowly do it so we don't warp it and, well, destroy our piece here. Okay, I want to go ahead and just say something for Eastwood here. For anybody who's ever talked crap on their welders, let me tell you something. They get plenty hot, because my piece of trim went from the right length to now being too short. That side I started shaping already, and I'm going to go test fit that, make sure it's kind of the right shape. This side, however, we're missing about 1/4 inch. Just melted right off the end. That really sucked. I got it just a little bit too hot, so I trimmed it up, beat it back, and I got some more of this channel here, so we'll make a piece, and we got more of the round stock here, and it didn't get into our last bolt, thank God. So all we got to do is just add a little piece of extension, good to go. And if I never would have told you, if this turns out any kind of way decent, you probably would have never known, but now you do. Alrighty, so here's our homemade piece so far. That's that end over there kind of blended in. We got the center welded in. I kind of like the way it looks, not welded up. And then we got our piece here I made and filed down, and see how extra long it is. So we just needed that little 3/8 of an inch. I'll show you the mistakes someday, maybe not, probably not, but anyways, mistakes happen. We fixed it. We'll cut that piece off. We'll finish doing this. It'll be done. All right, so we got this piece cut off and trimmed up. We got it just kind of rough shaped right here. Now we got this clamped on because we just put our first reel starts a weld right here in the center. Now we're gonna come to this side, and we're gonna keep working our way out from here. We're letting this kind of cool down. We clamped it to the hood to keep our shape. It didn't deform too bad. We're running not a lot of heat in this, just taking our time. It's gonna take me most of the day to probably get this piece welded, just because I don't want to warp it, and I don't want to screw it up because I don't want to start over. So a little bit of time and effort. And like I said, if you don't have a TIG welder, you could fill this with epoxy. And I was thinking about it, and I really wish I would have just done that, because I would have been done already. That would have been so freaking nice. Should have done that. All right, back to work. All right, so there's the hood trim fully welded. It's a little long on this side. Of course, the hood is not properly adjusted, as you can see on this side. Whereas we get to this side where it's a little closer to adjustment, see how close we are. So yep, we got some shaping to do, but it's not too bad. It really ain't. And it's something to be kind of proud of. Turned out not too bad. But I figured I'd show you before I start shaping everything. Everything got a double burn in, so that way it's all one molded piece. I didn't worry about stacking dimes or nothing, because, well, one, not real good at it, and two, don't need it. It needs to be shaved down. So alrighty, well, progress is not super fast, but been working on getting the profile just right, and mostly been using the file. I got the die grinder out, but the file works a lot better for keeping it flat, so that's all I'm doing right now, is just flattening this edge. Then we'll start working on our taper a little bit. Alright, so this side got it just about as shaped as much as I want to shape it. It really ain't too bad. This side we still got some pocks we gotta file out. There's no finish like a file finish, that's for sure. But when the hood's closed, looks pretty good. I'm gonna keep filing away, and a little bit of time and effort goes a long ways in saving a dollar, unless you value your time. Good thing I don't. All right, so here's your last update before I begin the actual polishing. Yes, any imperfections you see are staying, but the sand marks will be gone. Isn't too bad. Kind of hard to get it all on video, the shapes and contours. Try to keep the line as even as possible. I failed, and I tried to preserve the natural peak that was right there. You see a nice little porosity hole, but heck of a lot better than nothing, if you ask me. And it really looks fine just the way it is. It really does. So like I said, the hood's a little far forward on this side, so I think it'll be fine. And I mean, really, it probably don't even need polish, but pretty happy with that. Pretty proud of that. All right, there it is, final product. We decided not to take all the file marks out, give it a little bit of character, show it's homemade. Well, we polished it out. I mean, the car is never going to be perfect. If you people have ever watched this channel and ever seen my stuff, you know that I'm never going to make this stuff super nice. Just good enough to go places. Isn't that right, Anna? Yeah. Like Anna said, it's good enough the way it is. I mean, I could take it the rest of the way and I could make it super nice, but not bad. You'll never get stuff like that little guy out without doing a bunch of work. And it's better than nothing. So, hope someone finds this useful, hope someone finds this entertaining, hope someone out there watches this, actually, just maybe one person. Anyways, so, catch you guys later. Always take care. Hannah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
What do you think of this hood trim? Very nice. Very, very nice.
So that's a lot easier to pull up than mine. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think?
I think it'll do. That'll do, little piggy. That'll do. What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Looks just as good as the original. Looks better than the original, actually.
You think so? Even with all the scuff marks in it?
Oh yeah, well, you know, it's patina.
Oh, it's patina.
Yeah, you wouldn't want something real shiny. Looks fine. Beautiful. Beautiful.